Yes guys, howdy ka.
Woke up to another beautiful day here in Bangkok. Looking forward to getting some work done. Should be heading a bit further down south at the end of this month. So a bit of change of scenery for these videos. But anyway, what I do out here for work is I'm breaking my days up into 2 work blocks. And this helps me with wherever I am. So I have my first work block, which at the minute I just walk down to the local mall, find a coffee shop, I sit in there for 4 or 5 hours. I focus on maintenance tasks, I get my maintenance done, and then I feel great. I know I'm safe, I'm stable, this is, the spot to be. Then I walk back home, I like to get my steps in. Getting my steps in makes me feel really good. It helps me sleep, it just makes me feel a lot more energetic. So even though it's 35 degrees here, I get my steps in. I get back to the apartment. This is when I'll try and decompress. Maybe I'll go to the pool for a swim, cool down. Maybe I'll watch some Netflix, some YouTube, see what's going on. Do a bit of reading, anything like that. Once I'm out of this, break mode now, I'll find somewhere else to go and get some work done. I'll start work block 2. That's again, 4 or 5 hours. After that, I'll find somewhere for dinner. I'll head back to the apartment. And then the evening is just kind of focused on what didn't get done, what came up through the day, any task like that, just ensuring that the day really was successful. Everything I needed to do got done. Now, the other thing that I am subconsciously working on is how I handle specific tasks. So I'm very jumpy. Task A, task B, task C. I'll just do them all at the same time, jumping through tabs, jumping through programs. But I realized this has a huge knock-on effect when it comes to outside of work stuff. It was very good for work, for me, right? It might not be good for you, because I can get a lot done, and it kind of keeps me just wanting to work, wanting to enjoy it. But when I come to other activities, like reading, like learning, like just going on a walk without my phone, or whatever, right? I find that I'm always needing some extra pursuit of dopamine, some needing to switch from this quick, my Kindle, needing to switch over to something else super quickly, and it's pretty damn harmful. So I've been trying to cook up this little app here, right, where it's just super minimal. I just put my tasks in, it gives me my task history, I select what I am focusing on, use Pomodoro. These are just filler, but I basically have requirements in order to start my task. Then I can see my history, I can add notes about these things, just keep it super clean, see what it was I was working on the days before. And I'm hoping this will just keep me, from my work day, this will just keep me locked in on one task till it's done.
I've talked about this a lot over the years. I've talked about it in videos, I've talked about it in calls, but I want to kind of talk about it again and get it just into your heads that this is something that you need to prioritize and work on, coming from someone with the experience. And that is leveraging the cash flow that Etsy brings you. Now, we all know Etsy cash flow is absolutely insane, right? You make so much money, it's crazy, pretty damn quickly. But we know it's not going to be here forever, and we know it can be a bit unstable, a bit unpredictable. When you're in business, you want predictability. You want to know that you're going to keep money and the charts are just, averagingly going to go up. So what can we do to ensure that? And well, we use Etsy Dropshipping as our base. So an example of this is exactly what me and Duds have done. Now, we focused massively, hyper-focused just on Etsy Dropshipping for years and years and years. And now we would have other little stems of business ideas come from it, right? But at its core, it was just Etsy Dropshipping, right? So what did we do? Well, we tried a whole bunch of other things over the years. The big one that I love to explain is Shopify. We now run a massive Shopify operation too, multiple 7 figures across multiple stores, okay? And that all stemmed because we were not afraid to fail at the start. We were afraid to lose money testing products, lose money hiring people, paying for things, education on it, right? Because the money that Etsy was making us was covering all our costs, all our expenses. We were never going to be at a net negative. Now, when we did spend the money and we would lose on product tests and we would lose, on whatever, we essentially weren't losing the money. We were investing it into learning. So it was kind of like we were at university or college. We were spending this money to learn, and at the end of it, we got a great degree. And that is essentially what you need to think about in any other business you want to get into. Going into Shopify is a great venture because it's still within your current, scope of work within Etsy. You can still leverage your connections and your team to do it. Another aspect I love to just put loads of money each month is into stocks, because I like to worry about future Jamie. 30, 40 years into the future, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen in the world, but I like to hedge my bet that billion, trillion-dollar companies can protect themselves through whatever happens, and that's a pretty safe bet to store my money. Another one, agency. Use the money that Etsy is making to build out an agency. Pay for people to do your marketing, your outreach, and the work, and you are essentially just drop servicing, but it's like all in your own brand name, and you hire these people, right? It's crazy. I speak to a lot of people in Mafia who use the money to get into like the likes of property, real estate, land acquisitions. Another one is they put their money into developing software. Also, people are putting money into very brick and mortar stores, very brick and mortar businesses, laundromats, car washes, petrol stations, stuff like that. They're getting into it, and it all stemmed from Etsy. Now the question is, how do you get to a point like that? Because yes, you can open your first few stores. Your first store, you're going to make good money, but chances are that first store is just going to pay for your setup, for your operations, for the software you need. You might even lose some money, who knows? Your first, 5 to 10 stores are where you're really going to learn Etsy, really going to learn what the cash flow is. Maybe hire your first VA, your second VA, build a bit of your own custom software to do some things, start to get to like 5, 10, 20K net a month. And then once you get to that point, you're going to be like, a bonfire. You're just going to keep putting gas on it, and then you're going to get to 20, 30, 40, 50 stores. You're going to have a massive team. And when it gets to that point, you're no longer managing Etsy stores, you are managing the team. You are just a team manager who's focused on procedures, systems, increasing productivity, increasing effectiveness, and that is what you spend your day doing. And when you get to that point, your eyes start to open. You start to see the world a little bit more money focused and look for these opportunities. And that's what we did. That's when we went into these business models. And that's what your long-term goals and your long-term plays need to be. These pineapple cold brews absolutely slap. But the next thing I want to talk about is failure. Now, I have failed absolutely hundreds and thousands of times over the years, from the time I was a young teenager to very recently at anything. And now I always put it down to game master tests. And this is how I mentally prepare myself for failing, is I say, these are people out here controlling and watching my life and dictating my outcomes. And all I need to do is show them that no matter what they put in front of me, no matter what pressures, heartaches, pain, trials and tribulations they throw my way, it doesn't matter, because I am not stopping. I'm going to keep pushing through, I'm going to keep working, and I'm going to ensure what I need to do gets done. And when you have cash flow at your base, it does not matter what happens, because you have this wall, this force field around you that allows you to be safe, be secure, and be never needing to say yes to opportunities that you don't really want to take. You have this abundance mindset, so when you fail, it doesn't matter, it hurts a lot less, because you were never reliant on the outcome being a success. You were only hoping for that and taking it as a learning lesson. Right, it's nearly 3 o'clock. First work block of the day is done. Just got back to the apartment. It is 35 degrees today. I've already got my steps in and I have a lot more walking to do. I'm trying to hit like 15,000 steps a day. It's pretty damn hard in this heat, but it means I sleep like a baby, so it's worth it. And I'm going to go jump in the pool because I need to cool off. So I'm going to jump in the pool. I'm going to be in there for about 30 minutes, cool off, nice, lovely. Then I'm going to head to another place for a couple hours, get work block 2 done. So now I'm finished for the day, and then I've got a nice little place to go to for some food and drinks later. Looking forward to that. It's Friday, Saturday tomorrow. I'll wake up a little bit later. There's meant to be some like pool party at this apartment building I'm in. God knows what that will be like. Probably a disaster, but it could be funny. I might go check it out. So let's go get in the pool, and then let's go get some more work done. It's 20 to 5, last meeting done, at my last work block of the day, and coming out of this meeting made me think about a very good bit of information to give you guys. Probably a lot of you are going to be in this place where you're making new connections, you're making new friends, and you're picking the people that you want to work with. And I'm very strict with who I want to work with because I can be, but when I started off, right, the people that I wanted to hang around with and work with, like duds, for example, are the ones that understand you're going to have cosmic-sized nukes. You're going to lose lots of money. Businesses are going to fail. You're going to be, banned, and you're going to have your ad account shut down, and banks issues, and tax issues, and whatever, right? Understand that the people you want around are the ones that when you have a cosmic-sized nuke, you go into your meeting to talk about it, and you come away hopeful. You come away better than when you started that call. The ones you want to avoid are the doomers, the gloomers, the ones that when you come off that meeting, you feel so much worse. You have no energy, you feel tired, you feel lethargic, you feel like you can't push through. You need the people around you that are going to push you and make you see the light. And then that means you let them see the light and you push them forward, and together you carry each other, and you will get through any problem. If you believe that you can get through any problem, you will. But if you don't believe that, you won't, because you're telling yourself, well, I don't want to get through it, so I'm not going to push for that. So the main piece of advice, be careful who you get into business with. A lot of people are talkers, a lot of people are larpers. You want the people that do the work and push you through, the ones that motivate you and make you more driven, make you happy to get into work that day. Right then, boys, I appreciate you watching. Enjoy your day.